I'm talking today to Tony Duffin from Clearplan Project Management. Tony is a Sustainability Director at Clearplan. Hi, Tony. What can you tell us today about refurbishment and the potential for sustainability?
It's an interesting area. And the first thing is that sustainability is something that means different things to different people. But in my book, it can mean an environmental imperative to get a building which has low impacts. But at the other scale, at the end of the scale, it can be something which means that the economics of the building work well. So you've got low energy bills by building in sustainability. And in refurbishment, many of our clients have taken on an older property and it may have had very little done for many years, or it just suits a major internal refurbishment and a redesign. So we see quite a lot of those. And that's a very good time to think about sustainability, and the particular things I would focus on would be reducing your heating bills and making the building more comfortable, because especially with an older building, say Victorian, it'll be drafty, it'll be cold in the winter, so now's the time to do it. And of course, reducing your energy inputs and your bills also reduces pollution, so it makes it more environmentally sustainable at the same time. Now, I would prefer to begin this sort of work with a site visit, because all buildings have their own character, and there are unique details which you need to identify at a site visit. And I've even found buildings where a surveyor has said it's got a solid wall, and when I go along I discover it's got a cavity wall. I will always discuss the project with the client, and that's so that we both understand that what can be done. I understand what the client is planning to do in terms of the way the building is being changed, layouts and so on, but also to agree with them the sort of aims and objectives that we want to set and the constraints, which of course will include the budget. I would then also recommend that the building is analysed with the help of a thermal model. We have our own thermal model, and this is a bit like a doctor doing tests to help inform a diagnosis. The model will help me understand which treatments will work best for the building, and as examples, that might be adding internal or external insulation to the walls, might be better glazing, and some attention to those drafts or air tightness. And the model will help me understand which works best, how much has the most impact, and it'll help me inform the client so they can understand the pros and cons of each technique. And the model will also help understand which are the most important aspects of this particular building in terms of the heating and the comfort, because the size, the shape, and the volume of a building, as well as the construction, make a big difference to what actually is the most important. You can't use a one-size-fits-all approach to this. Then there are questions about the type of heating system. If you're doing a big refurb, you might be completely changing the heating system. So will underfloor heating suit the older construction? Is it on or off the gas grid? So would a gas boiler still work? Do you have environmental objectives in mind? Do you want a low-carbon heating system? How long are you going to stay in the property if it's a financial review you want? And all these things influence the choice of heating as well as your lifestyle. So we have to take all those into account. And then to finish the work, I will provide a report. I think it's important that you have, as a client, a written summary of what's been done. It allows you to pick it up and look back to refer to at any stage in your project. And it also shows to the client why certain suggestions have been made, why a particular approach works on this refurbishment. And in most properties I find I can reduce the heating bill by about half. It's amazing what can be done. And interestingly, this often means that you have a lower cost for the heating system itself, because if you're reducing the amount of heat you need to put in, then you can actually reduce the cost of the heating plant that needs to produce that heat. So it's wins all round. So a good refurbishment can make good economic sense and good environmental sense, and will be a comfortable home to live in.
That's great, Tony. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.